Whether it's at a casino or any other setting, this is just a variation on the tried and true method of trying to extract money from losers, affinity scamming, and by association. So there's this market like the NFT market, which even if you don't remember it from even 2 years ago, was a pump and dump for approximately 18 months. And this company called Ocean, or someone similar, had a bunch of NFTs that had all dropped in value by 95, 98, or 99%. As far as I could tell, it was essentially a pump and dump. Here we have yet another pump and dump. All they're doing is attempting to affiliate scam Bitcoin in order to make it appear like something is happening, even though all the other evidence against Bitcoin has now vanished. Ether is no different. If that's the case, then this is merely the most recent con. According to Max Keiser, when compared to Bitcoin, everything eventually converges towards zero over a long period of time. Claim includes not only fiat money but also other digital currencies. His most recent interview with Stacy Keiser highlights Bitcoin's indestructibility and explains why it is the best cryptocurrency. His forecasts for the market and Bitcoin's future in 2024 are detailed here. In addition, Keiser offers insights on Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies as they traverse the dynamic world of digital assets. Going beyond Bitcoin, he stresses the difficulties of navigating market ups and downs, stressing the significance of perseverance and conviction in the face of uncertainty. Those who achieve great success must admit when they're wrong and work to understand what went wrong, and what can I do to improve. A common tactic of the unsuccessful is to act as if nothing has happened, to try to get you to disregard the fact that they have made a mistake, and to keep making the same mistakes in the hopes that they will eventually succeed. In addition, I believe that during the 2016 to 2017 timeframe, when the initial coin offering ICO scam was at its peak, they had to turn down several lucrative offers worth millions of dollars. It was at this moment that I said, you know what? We're going to go down this path of Bitcoin, only Bitcoin maximalism, and try to develop a brand that is Bitcoin maximalism. That was the beginning of my extreme Bitcoin optimism. Can you explain that? Michael Saylor, who emerged in 2020, thus became the embodiment of Bitcoin maximalism. However, it seems to have simmered down. In a sense, the cypherpunks were maximalists from the start. But then, in 2017, 2016, and 2017, it seemed like we began to lean toward maximalism. From 2020 onward, I believe Michael Saylor essentially came up with the script for maximalism. Knowing how things function, I believe that's how that was formalized. I am familiar with how the IMF operates, just like when we spoke. They consolidated regarding it, thus exposed. And to address Stacy's point about El Salvador being a nation-state and about maximalism, it was only logical for the country to embrace a maximalist stance as well, given the president's stance on economic liberty. Also, it was determined that Bitcoin's maximalist benefits outweigh any potential incremental gain from entertaining any shitcoin at all by a factor of 10,000. Consequently, ordinals are essentially the same, just as there are people who attach vandalism, graffiti, or whatever else to Bitcoin. Plus, Bitcoin is an everlasting work of art, so by association they feel like they're part of something bigger. Those who throw soup at the Mona Lisa usually have a cause, like protecting the environment or activists, right? Of course. The same holds true for the average person. They think they are being socially responsible. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think they're attempting to convey a philosophical message, one that even Aristotle would find amusing through their hilarious segues. Strongly believe they are humorous. Plus, if you catch them live, they'll dress like wizards and perform stand-up comedy. Okay, you think. I don't find this hilarious. This was actually just covered in a song by Jimmy. Yes, and he made the analogy to Master Coin, which is, after all, just an old ploy. First, let us define ordinals. My opinion is that it is not. Why? Because it's hard to put into words. Why are these things even here? They're worthless. Alright, it's a layer. It is far from being a JPEG. It resembles a. Not long after that, they introduced a new layer of Bitcoin called Mastercoin and raised a large amount of money. Because that is the model for incentives, they essentially never constructed anything. A key component of Bitcoin, the incentive mechanism, ensures the system's continued operation. Would Jeff Bezos have built Amazon if you offered him some money, like a lot of money, to build Amazon? If Elon Musk hadn't invented SpaceX, Tesla, and everything else, what would have happened? Especially when you're a young man thinking, well, I'm just going to go be a playboy around. He could have been surprised if you told him there were 300 billion. Very well. I appreciate it. I will be at Sin City. Yes, I will be visiting Danny. This is a common occurrence with tokens that are part of a pre-sale. Consequently, master currency became a source of shame. They changed its name to Omni. This is only this week, though. To put it simply, they are disabling it. For the most part, it's past. Thankfully, it is turned off at last. The fact that it had no purpose other than as a tether pretty much sums it up. But that is no longer the case. To a large extent, that is what the ordinals are showing us. It's only a veneer. They're attempting to market it as a veneer while acting like comedians, and as Max puts it, they're like a female stand-up comic. It's basically the newest con. And yet, I find it satisfying because in that sense it's similar to vandalism. On the other hand, whenever I ponder this in an attempt to generate an idea, this is essentially what I get. At the core of it all, though, it isn't meaningless, foolish nonsense that will be forgotten and replaced with another fraud in due course. Scams just won't quit, it seems. What they do is simply give them a new name. To paraphrase Jimmy Song, all it is master currency with a new twist on. The problem is that the US Department of Justice and regulatory authorities are now swarming on anybody who develops one of these tokens, so yeah, this is going to be a recurring theme. Instead, they're introducing a second layer on top of Bitcoin and calling it Bitcoin. This is because no one else has noticed that it's just Bitcoin, not even Wall Street. This is the part when Bitcoin truly shines. They may also be oblivious to the unique qualities of Bitcoin, just as Wall Street executives like Larry Fink may be. When it comes to NFTs, nevertheless, he is aware that they are the ones to sell their Ether coin. It has just been reported that many of the larger shit currencies like Tron will be transitioning to Bitcoin. Subsequent Bitcoin layer. As a result, this cycle will continue until Bitcoin reaches 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 80,000, 100,000, and 125,000. As it continues its meteoric rise, you may expect to see increasingly outlandish items offered on Max's Yo-Yo-S. For example, Duncan may begin selling yo-yos on the blockchain, namely the Bitcoin blockchain. What follows is exactly what you just saw. No doubt about it. It's funny because folks won't be able to add up the numbers and will keep giving a Bitcoin for one set. Bear markets are tough, but Stacy claims that bull markets are even more so. What the Bitcoin office does in El Salvador, and what Max and I have been doing here the whole time, is that we try to persuade the brightest and finest to make El Salvador their permanent home. This includes their headquarters, their spiritual home, their real home, and their physical home. Additionally, our longevity has been an advantage. Being involved with Bitcoin since 2011 makes us seem ancient. Consequently, we are aware of the individuals who are able to weather the extremely harsh bear markets because they are smart, nimble, and competent business people. Have made it through at least 4 or 5 bull markets, actually. It's more challenging to weather a bull market in Bitcoin than a bear one. Plus, being a famous person or involved in any of those industries can make you feel pressured to engage in dishonest practices. The same way that it is provided to you. That one in 2017 was just insane. Before Saylor and all these other Wall Street names came around, we would get 4 or 5 offers every day for Maxes. Back then, there weren't many well-known figures, but Bitcoin and Max were definitely well-known. Also, people were promising thousands of Ethereum ETH or other large sums to promote everyone without asking for anything in return, which is problematic from a recognition and name recognition standpoint. Put your name on our website, and that's all we require. They offered a lot of money for photos, and we know a lot of people who took advantage of that offer. Not to mention, you won't find any of them these days. I don't see any of them in the Bitcoin realm. I suppose some people can get back on their feet on an individual basis if they are self-respecting enough to own their mistakes. But that kind of error is unthinkable at the national level, whether